All right, YouTube, Repo Man 64 out here in the secret broadcast cave. Um, Somebody sent me an email and said, "Can you do a timeline for dummies?" I am definitely not going to word it that way on the title of this, but I want to go through the timeline and prove that 2025 without a doubt, is the year of the rapture. And I'm going to make the video focused directly on that and go through it so that you can see. Now, you know as well as I do that CJ Lovick has a very similar timeline. It's almost identical. However, he has gone to the first time Israel became a nation. I think it was 1948 or 1840. I have it on the timeline. I already had it there, but I didn't realize something that he had found, the 4,900 years. Doesn't matter. We come to this from the same creation time to the same conclusion. We're 1 year off, and I think I found out why he's 1 year off. I know. Maybe he's right and I'm 1 year off. I don't think so. I think I'm right. But I want to go through it, just explain the timeline and not go off on every other tangent that I normally do and just focus on the timeline and show you why 2025 is a year. And then I'll make another video and show you why the rapture, I believe, must occur by September 24th of 2025. Um, no, I don't have an exact date. I haven't had that angel visit at the foot of my bed yet, but all of us are watching, and I don't see how anyone can say that the rapture is too much further away. Something is holding back. Something huge is holding back the most catastrophic events ever. And they're coming out with video after video that volcanoes should erupt and then they don't, and the earthquake should go off and then it doesn't. They should be pushing the button nuclear and then it doesn't happen. Things that one would think typically that, for example, Russia, you wouldn't think they'd put up with that, but apparently they are. And so there's a million different things going on right now, and it almost appears as though it's a cover up. It almost appears as though it's a cover up because what we're seeing is, oh, I'm going to do this. Oh, I'm going to get really mad and do it. Then they don't do anything. We see this drama going on with Trump and Elon, and to me, it almost appears as though they're trying to divert your attention away from this, from watch something else. Hey, look over here. Hey, look over there. And we have to be careful. We don't have to be careful for that. You're saved, right? That's the end of it. You've accepted Jesus, and you know that he is the only way to heaven and that there are no works involved. He did it all. He did it all. So what else do we need, right? So I'm going to go through this timeline quickly. Very quickly, I'm going to show you I don't collect money. I never have, and I never will. And in Discord, I have a rule that we are not to ask for money because we don't know if it's legit or if it's a bot. So I just turn it all off. No money's asked. However, Sister Sandy, as you know, this wonderful background that I have, she makes all these types of things and she makes all my timelines. She doesn't just do it for me, she does it for a lot of other watchmen. And I'm going to post it's kind of, I think it's where is she from? New Zealand? New Zealand. And I think it must be some local New Zealand thing. All she needs is a laptop. And if somebody could help her towards getting herself a laptop, especially the all of us who have been helped by her making these timelines. And I'll show you that real quick, and then we're going to get on to the timeline. Let's share. Let me move myself up out of the way here. There we go. And pictures. There it is at the bottom. I'm out. Sent this to me. Did I turn on I think I forgot it. Hold on. I forgot to turn on my Bluetooth, so this probably doesn't sound that good. Hold on 1 second. Let me turn it on now that we're hold on 1 second. There we go. Made my first mistake. Glad I noticed that before I went on too far. Oh, we should sound a whole lot better. All right, now let's share again. Share. And let's hope this thing climbs up out of the way. Doesn't block you. You can't. There it goes. Okay. So here's Sister Sandy's little, I think it's a GoFundMe. I'm out, brought this to my attention. I had no idea that her computer, apparently the battery's expanding and half the screen is messing up, and yet she still makes these wonderful timelines for us. But there's her, I guess that's a New Zealand GoFundMe. I don't know. But anybody been helped by her? Give her a little help there. All right. And again, this is I'm out. I didn't know anything about any of this. Bending her screen. I guess the battery is warping her screen. That can't be safe either, by the way, Sister Sandy. So be careful with that. And we'll help her get a couple of you out there could help her get a laptop. She doesn't need to buy a house. She just needs to get a laptop, help her out a little bit. All right, let me get to here. Let's go back to here. And we're going to focus on this timeline. I do a lot of jumping around typically. I went back and listened to a video where I just began realizing how the Shemitah and the Jubilee cycles actually worked. And it's from January 17th or 19th, something like that. And I was all over the place because this is what I do when I'm learning. I kind of pose ideas to see if anybody can give me some help. And so well, I always need help, but the timeline is finished, it's built, and CJ Lubbock, what has he done? 1948 BC. 1948 BC, he went 44 Jubilee cycles to 1948. Abraham was 99 years old. So let's see. He was born in 19, maybe it was 1840. I believe he said 1848. So I don't have that year on here. 1848 is when Israel began, and that's when Abraham was made the promise. I believe he was 99 or 100, and so it would have been 1848 BC. And C.J. Lubbock did an amazing job. He went from 4004. He has a question mark here because he doesn't know when creation began. Creation did begin on September the 11th. It began on Elul 28, and 4 days later, the year changed on September the 15th. That's the Feast of Trumpets. Back here, it was called Rosh Hashanah. In Exodus 12, it was moved 6 months. And so on September the 15th would be the new head of the year as we know it now, or the old head of the year as Adam knew it. And of course, one day later, on the sixth day, Adam was created, and it became 4003. That's why CJ Lubbock has an extra year in there. He knows it's 4004, but he has, again, a question mark right here. He's not quite understanding. And I knew all this to previous 6 years ago. 6 months ago, I decided something told me just work on the Jubilee year because I was just trusting everybody else. So I built this. All right, let me not get into too many sidetracks. CJ Lubbock is correct, and it is actually 4003. He goes 44 Jubilees to 1848 BC, and then from there, he's done the 4900 years, which is the other 100 Jubilees, because the Jubilee cycle is 49. So 49 times 100 is 4900 years. And he has come all the way over to here to 7056. But because he has started his year 1 year early, he has left 21 years for Satan. By virtue of the Jubilee count, and things having to happen in a Jubilee year, i.e., Israel becoming a nation in 1848, being a Jubilee year, by virtue of that, the end will be 7056. 144 times 49 is 7056. What we see on our timeline will be 3054, and 3032 will be the end of the millennium. The millennium is 1,000 years. The Bible said it. It's not going to lose 1 minute of that 1,000 years. It's not going to go over 1,000. It's 1,000 years. It's exactly 1,000 years. Satan will be loose for a little season. That little season just happens to be 22 years by virtue of the Jubilee cycle. Now, when we back up, we go 123 Jubilees. And again, CJ Lubbock is right on that. Well, he's not on the 123. He believes that Adam, he sees this 35 years and he's trying to find an explanation for it. And the way they do that is they'll call it 3974, I think. They're coming up with those 35 years, trying to say that Adam was in the garden for 35 years. He was not. He was created with age. He was 26 and a half when he was created, and Jesus replaced him. He was in the garden for 7 years, 47 days when he sinned, and then in another 45 days, the day after Hanukkah, he was removed from the garden. And that was 45 days after that. So Adam was 33 and a half years old. Jesus was 33 and a half years old when he went to the cross. He was 33 and a half. So when you do the math, just sit down, go 4,003 and add that number to 2025, and you'll come to 6,028. But a Jubilee cycle, 6,027. Again, we have this 0 year that we have to deal with. We're always dealing with this 0 year. So, and that lands in 2025. But over here in 2032, at the end of tribulation, it is a perfect Jubilee cycle, 123 Jubilees. Like I said, I counted from Adam straight through 100 Jubilees. Did he do that? He might have done that. 123 Jubilee cycles, and we land at the end of the how do you call it? Let me rephrase that because I said that wrong. It is 123 Jubilee cycles from when Adam was created. 7 years later, it is 123 Jubilee cycles to 2032, which is the end of the tribulation. Why do I think that the rapture must occur before September 24th? Because this is the day that the dove sat down on Jesus. This is the Day of Atonement. This is the 8th year anniversary of the Revelation 12 sign. September the 24th is the day Satan is going to mimic what Jesus did in reality to make the world follow him. They are going to see something very surprising from this guy on September the 24th. And he is going to rise up on that day. Now, is he here now? Yes, he's here now. He's working behind the scenes. He won't reveal himself. He's going to want to steal Jesus's day. This is the day Jesus revealed himself as the Messiah that takes away the sins of the world. The Father in heaven said, "This is my Son. In him I am well pleased." This happened on the Day of Atonement, September the 24th in 2025, which was Tishri 10. So we go back and we begin our count. We always begin our count when Adam is created. Why? Because that's for man. The Sabbath was created for man, not man for the Sabbath. Or did I say that backwards? I don't recall. But again, CJ Lubbock goes 44 years to 1848. Then he goes 100 years, and where does he land? He lands at exactly the same date I do. But because he's counting from 4004 instead of 4003, he has 21 years. This is chaos. 1111 is chaos. 22 is 11 plus 11. It's chaos. 21 is 3 sevens. That is not that's Jesus numbers, 3 and 7, but 22 would be a lot of chaos is going to happen here. This is where everything finishes up. This is where it all gets destroyed in this last year. So let's see. From and again, I counted because of Heather R. She made a statement, and I decided, well, I got to go in and figure this out. And I've been working on this, or I've had this done now for a little while, but I had started working on this about 6 months ago. But I decided to count from her date, which was when Joshua entered the promised land. And ironically, not so ironically, it goes 70 Shemitah cycles and it lands right here in 2025. So there is this gap that's happened, this 6 month gap. I've showed this 6 months before. We're in it right now. I don't know what its purpose is. I don't know what's happening during this period of time, but no, the seals are not open yet. They will not open until we're standing in heaven. The seals are the judgment of God. Anybody that says anything differently, I can't even hear them because it's just not true. The seals are the judgment of God, and we will be standing there to see the seals open. 24 people simply cannot represent, and that was my last video, they simply cannot represent every tribe, nation, tongue, and peoples. Peoples. Somebody said, well, I mean, they're scattered all around the world. That makes them different peoples. They're not different peoples. They're still Jews, and it doesn't matter where they are in the world. They're still Jews. Peoples meaning every kind of people, meaning all of you. So we will fall under those a category of those 24. Those, for lack of a better term, are leaders. Now, some are saying it's the 12 tribes of Israel and it is the 12 apostles. That sounds fine, but what about the 10 patriarchs from before that? We don't know who they are. We can't assign them specifically to anyone. So I don't want to get sidetracked because I have a terrible habit of doing that. So you'll see here that um, up to you'll up to here. What did I have here? Joshua entered. Yeah, Joshua entered the promise. 53 Jubilee cycles of 49, and then 70 Jubilee cycles brings us to 2025. And this 2025 began in March. It might have started in March 16th, or if Sister Sandy's right, it might have started in March 26th. And irregardless, I did it again. Regardless, it's a colloquial from up north, a vernacular from up north. So I apologize for that. Regardless, it passed. It passed, and we're still watching. But again, by the anniversary of the Revelation 12 sign, the Day of Atonement in 2025, when Satan reveals himself, I believe we have to be gone first. I don't know when. I don't know. I mean, we're watching every day, right? Um, in the next video, I'll do more work on this with the other timeline and show you some possible high watch days up to the 24th. But we can't see the Antichrist be revealed. We can't. To say that to make the statement, if you say if you say that we are the great multitude, then you have said that you are a tribulation saint, because that great multitude is a number that no man can count. It is a huge number. And after that, there's nothing else except for the Jews going into the millennium over here. The Jews go into the millennium over here, and I think they do it on Hanukkah. I think that's when they go into the millennium. And so we can't say that. And we also can't say that the tribulation saints have to avoid getting their heads chopped off and not receive the mark. We know very well that the tribulation saints are in heaven in seal 6. We know very well that that happens at the very minimum by the halfway point, by the point of Apophis, when Apophis comes. By that point, we know that the sixth seal has to be opened because it opens up the trumpets and the bowls, right? We know the seventh seal opens up trumpets. When does the mark of the beast come out? This is the big fight we had with everybody years ago when the C word came out. Everybody was like, if you receive that, you receive the mark. No, you didn't. No, you didn't. It can't come out until after halfway through the tribulation. That's when it comes out. It doesn't come out until the devil himself enters into the body of the Antichrist, who's going to be here for 1,260 days, plus 38 days, September 24th, for that period of time. So we can't say that the tribulation saints have to avoid getting their. I hear people say it all the time, like it doesn't match. They are not going to be here. And then, of course, I have this personal belief that the tribulation saints aren't even going to be here hardly for any part of the 7 years. And the reason I say that is because this is Jacob's trouble. These 7 years are Jacob's trouble. It doesn't say Jacob's trouble in a great multitude that no man can count. It's Jacob's trouble. This is for the Jews. These 7 years are for the Jews. The seals, I believe, are opened up sequentially and very quickly, and they happen, and the great multitude appears in heaven. I've said this a million times. When let me not get sidetracked. I'll get onto the subject of that in the next video. Let me and I'm terrible about it. I apologize, but I will always get sidetracked. So everything matches to a Jubilee cycle, to the end of all things, to the end. And CJ Lubbock is absolutely correct. I had associated the end of Israel as being mid-trib, but it actually isn't. It is actually at the end. CJ Lubbock's 100% right. This is when Israel ceases to be a nation. When does that happen? It happens when the earth is destroyed. That's what he said. And I was like, light bulbs. Yes, he's actually correct. And he is correct. It is 7056. The problem is we have this year zero. So it appears to be 7057 or the year 3054 by our counting. And again, it's because of this 0 year right here. They inadvertently put a 0 year by stacking it. What they did was they went BC to AD. Oh, we didn't put a 0 year. Yes, you did. When you went BC to AD, you should have said that BC and AD shared that year. If you had done that, right now we'd be in 2024. But we're calling it 2025. That doesn't change anything, though. That does not change anything. Even though this is actually the year 2024, it doesn't change anything. And if we even back up beyond that, go a little bit further, this is actually the year 20 the year 2020, because of what that Catholic monk did by mistake. He did a 3 year mistake, 4 year mistake in his calculations, and that's why we have this extra 4 years here. Jesus was born exactly born now. I know CJ Lubbock is counting to when Jesus went to the cross. He's almost correct. The problem is Jesus was 33 and a half when he went to the cross. He was not 35. And so those 35 years he's assigning over here to Adam doesn't quite match over here. He's off by a year and a half. I wonder if he's trying to figure out that year and a half. Well, I'll show you. Jesus was 33 and a half years old when he went to the cross. The year was changed in Exodus 12 by 6 months. The head of the year used to be September the 15th. It was changed to March the 17th. It was moved by 6 months. So 6 months still has to be realized. Just because God moved it doesn't mean it's going to disappear. Satan would have a railing accusation. So you take those 6 months, add it to Jesus' 33 and a half years, you have 34 years. And then you add the year that Noah was on the ark. He was on the ark for 1 year. There is a punishment for man to be toiling in the ground for 6,000 years. But 35 of those years, again, Satan would have had a railing accusation about this. He would have about Noah being on that ark and not by the sweat of his brow toiling in the ground and the thistles. And he would have had a huge argument about God just changing the head of the year. Wait, whoa, you just stole 6 months from me. So that's there. And then, of course, the time God was with us, Emmanuel, God with us, 33 and a half years from his birth to the day. By the way, to the day. He was born on September the 29th at nightfall. He went to the cross on March 29th, becoming March 30th. The Last Supper was March 29th. Crucifixion was March 30th. And March 31st would have been the day that Israel left Egypt. So perfect. Absolutely perfect. It explains the 35. Everybody's like, yeah, but it has to be 6,000 years. Let's just steal the time from back here and call it 3974. You can't do that. Satan would have a complete argument about God walking here on this earth for 33 and a half years and counting that time towards man. And that's exactly why. That's exactly where the 35 years come from. If you, again, take 4004 and you add it to 2032, you would come up, or 4003, I apologize. Yeah, it starts at mankind's 4003. If you take 4003 and you add it, just basic add it to 2032, you're going to come up with 6,035 years. 4003, 2032, 6,035 years, and those 35 years are explained right here. We don't have to deal with them back here. All right. This timeline has, I believe this is the latest one. I have a few little modifications here. Apophis. This is from David. I didn't have all this math. I noticed Apophis was in. I think I actually had said that Apophis was April the 29th or something. But David the Watchman's channel cited April the 13th, and he noticed that if you go back 1,260 days, you land on the flood. If you go forward 1,260 days, you land on the Day of Atonement. On this day, right here, is the day, September 24th, is the Revelation 12 sign. Again, you can go into the Stellarium app. You will see that the moon is not actually under her feet on the 23rd. It's actually under her feet on the 24th. But they moved it. Everybody will say the 23rd because how do you call trumpets was on the 22nd, so they were trying to pull it closer. I think they're actually saying this year trumpets is on the September the 24th, and they're saying, yeah, it's the anniversary of the Revelation 12 sign. It really isn't. Trumpets is on September the 15th. That Tishri 1. It just mathematically doesn't match for it to be there. At any rate, if you go another 30 days, which is a 1,290, you land here. This is the day that Noah entered the ark right here on Heshbon 10. And if you go another 45 days, you land here on Hanukkah. Remember, Adam was in the garden. He sinned on October the 31st. He stayed in the garden until December the 15th. He actually enjoyed Hanukkah in his sinful state with God. And at some point here around Hanukkah, God says, we've got to get him out of this garden, because if he eats of the tree of life, he might live forever. And God promised him, in that day, the day you eat of the fruit, you will surely die. A day is like 1,000 years. 1,000 years is like a day. Adam died when he was 930 in one day. He died before he was 1 day old, or 1,000 years old. All right. And if you add the 7 years he was in there before, he was 930, that would make him 937. Maybe there's math in there somebody could work out. 937, if we decided to put in his actual age, that would be very interesting. I hadn't done that. 937. What does that add up to? I'm just curious. 937, because he was in the garden he was 930 when he died. He was in the garden for 7 years, and he was 26. 963, does that mean anything to anybody? 963 years old. Even though it was the year 930, he was. No, because that wouldn't work. Would that work? He was 33 and a half. That would be 50, 930. He was 930 when he died. I wonder how they're counting that. I never really thought about it. The Bible says he was 930. It's got to be counting from when he was created. So it would be 956. It wouldn't be 963. Yeah, it would count from there. I had that wrong. Sorry about that. Thinking out loud, making a mess of my brain. Jesus, 4,000 years. Remember, in the fourth day, 4,000 years, Jesus was born. I count to when he was born. C.J. Lubbock is counting to the cross. That's where he's getting those 35 years. But I think he must be asking himself, why is it not 35? What's 33 now? What's going on? He must have a year and a half problem that he's trying to resolve. And so I've never been in communication with C.J. Lubbock. It would be very interesting because he seems very articulate, very intelligent. I would love to present this to him. A Day of Atonement is pointed out very heavily in these 4,000 years, because 7 days before and 7 days after. If you go 7 days after September the 16th, it's September the 24th. It is the Day of Atonement. Jesus was born on September the 30th. Where's it at? I'm lost. Oh, September the 30th. If you go back, you'll land on September the 23rd, which is the Revelation 12 sign, the Day of Atonement, September 24th. So it encompasses it, inclusive. So we have this 14 days on either side, which was very interesting, because I think we're going to see that over here with time on either side, which is why we're still here, which is why the rapture hasn't happened. but it must happen before September 24th of 2025. I say must. I don't have any insight above anyone else. All I have is math, and the math tells me that it is the year 2025 and that it should happen by September the 24th. All right, I'm going to stop sharing this. I'm going to upload this and I'm going to try to make a shorter video is what I'm going to try to do. So, all right, we will chat with you again in a moment.